Hello everybody, my name is AJ, and for those of you who don't know, I used to be an extremely avid Ark Survival Evolved player. I have about 3,000 hours playing PvP, so I'm not the most experienced player by any means, but have a decent grasp over the game and what creatures are good, what's important. So this is going to be a tier list on my opinion of how good creatures are from a PvP standpoint. If you want to see a PvE tier list, or just my personal opinions for how fun they are to use on a playthrough, I'd be more than happy to do something like that. Just feel free to let me know in the comments. Our tiers, we have most important tames. These are by far the best tames, the tames that you want to see every single server that you start, regardless of solo, duo, official. Like, these are the core tames for your Ark PvP experience. Great to have in multiples. Similar to the most important tames, but they're great to have. You want to breed them, you want to mutate them, especially if you're a bigger tribe. These are definitely things that you would mutate, but these are also the creatures that a solo or a duo may not have the time to mutate, or on a slower server, you may not mutate for a couple months or a couple weeks into the wipe. Having a couple can be useful. This is kind of the extreme of that. Yes, maybe you want to mutate these creatures, but for the most part, it's kind of like if you find one on a corpse, great, use it. If maybe you pick one or two up as you're playing through the beginning, is okay. Maybe one early game is the extremist. Is like maybe one of these early could be helpful, but you're really never going to be using them. Outclassed is similar to the maybe one early game. There's just a better option. You'd rather have something else. There's at no point in the game would you use this over something else. And then useless and untamable is the useless and untamable creatures. So without further ado, I think the Akatina, the snail, I think this goes in great to have in multiples. You're not going to mutate these, you're not going to be breeding these, but free constant cementing paste is great. The amount of cementing paste you can get with these things when you have a large supply of them is absolutely phenomenal. So if you're a little bit later game, you're going to need to get veggie cakes to tame them, and that can be very hard to divert time away from getting heavies, getting level 100, the important early game things for a solo player. But absolutely great to have later game once you've got your base set up, once you're working through what you have. Obviously, if you're in a rat hole, it's a little bit tougher to get a good farm going, but for bigger tribes especially, Akatinas are great. I believe this is the Acro. The Acro I do not have the most experience with in the world. Really, the only experience I have is single player Arc editions. I haven't played Evolve since I don't know if it actually is released fully, and I haven't played any modded servers with it on PvP. So we're gonna put this in useless untamable just because I don't know how useful it is. I know you need to do the narcotic nonsense to tame it, but I do not know how great the abilities are in PvP. This looks like the Allosaurus, and Allosaurus I think fits very nicely in the outclass tier. It is basically a worse Rex in every way. The group buff can be decent, like it can be okay, but it's never going to make it better than a Rex. The base stats are just too low. There's never a place that you would take an Allosaurus that you couldn't take a Rex. Any cave running, you would need a smaller creature, and any boss fight, you just take Rexes. And so I think this is our first outclass dinosaur. Rexes are just better every way. Amargasaurus are kind of the same. Unfortunately, I have not played Evolve since the Amargasaurus came out, so my information on some of the newer creatures is definitely limited. So that's going to go in our useless untamable, and that's on my knowledge to have. The little, not Eurypterid, but the things at the bottom of the ocean. They're useless. They're untamable. They're great for black pearls early. You can go down, kill them with really any tame. Like you can get a Bazzy on Gen 1 really easy. There's plenty of these on other maps that you can kill, get early black pearls for just starting off your tech grind once you get the first couple boss fights done. Really great, especially if you are, I suppose even if you are based on center, but if you do the center boss fight to unlock tech turret, which you should be doing, it is a really easy way to get the black pearls you need on any map, regardless, to get those up and running as soon as possible. The Andrewsarchus is the same. I haven't experienced it much. I haven't really played since it came out. I know that it is decent, I believe, for turret running, or at least it can be in Ascended, I believe. But in Evolved, I don't truly have that much knowledge with it. The Angler probably goes in most important tames. It is the best way to get silica pearls by far. The only concern is with extinction, it is easier to just farm the electronics than to get silica. But especially if you're on a boosted server, going and doing a quick 10-minute run on Crystal Isles with this bad boy is, I mean, it's so many pearls. Even on official, it's absolutely phenomenal way. I think this goes in most important tames just because silica and electronics are obviously some of the most important resources in the game, and it is by far the best way to get them. Now, Anki, a lot of people might disagree with, but I think, to be honest, I think this either goes in having maybe one early game is where I put this. They used to be amazing, right? Early days of official, you had the Yankees, you'd max mute the melee, you'd get great metal yields, but with the Magmasaur being out, the Magmasaur is just better in every way. It's a better metal farmer, it's a better combat mount if you have to fight someone on your farm. Obviously, at that point, you would hope you have like a Pocket Giga or something, right? But it is if your cryo timer is up, if someone catches you at the start of your farm, it is something at least to defend yourself with. I think the Anki is okay early game. You maybe you know you it's pretty easy to get Magmasaur eggs, but I would not fault a player, especially a newer player, for wanting to tame an Anki instead. They are definitely capable of getting you the metal you need. The Magmasaur is just so much better. That this could honestly go in outclassed, but maybe one early game I think is where it belongs. The Uranio is useless. I've never tamed one of these in single player or PvP. I do not think there's a single use for the Uranio. If you have successfully used Uranios in a PvP wipe of yours, please let me know about it in the comments. I would love to hear those stories, and be interested to learn if these have some ability I don't know about. The Archaeopteryx is, I believe, the little glider pet you can get. Um, I think just outclassed. I mean, just make the glide suit. Just make the glide suit and slap it on your chest. There's no reason to tame this thing ever. Um, pretty useless. The Archelon, I think, has a decent health pool. Again, I haven't used it much. I think it has a decent health pool. You can use it to soak underwater bases, but I know that Bazzies are so good at soaking just because of their HP pools that probably it goes in outclassed. But again, I don't know it. I haven't used it to be able to say how good it is. But again, definitely these four dinos could all be much higher up. I have not had the experience with them. I've never gone out of my way to tame them. I was falling out of the meta by the time those had released. Argentavis, I think having a couple can be useful. It's not the best travel mount. On official, it's okay, but again, there's a lot better ways to transfer your metal. And if you're ever getting metal, you should be on Aberration, and you should be able to just slap it in a Dedi storage. But if you don't have Aberration, or you don't want to go to Aberration, which is understandable, despite it being my favorite map and the best map in the game, I understand that it is challenging to survive on. And so I think having a couple can be useful, especially early game. RDs are great travel mounts to get your early farm started, especially on official. Unofficial with weight boosting, they fall off a lot, but on official settings, I think they're pretty decent. The Arthropluras are great to have in multiples. I'd like to put them in most important tames, but they're not. They're great. I think they're the best way to clear spam. I think having them is super important. I'm a big Arthroplura lover, but I understand that they are not necessary. You can farm C4 and blow all the spam yourself if you want, and I can't fault you for doing that if you have the resources for it. Potentially is even more time efficient depending on what their spam looks like, depending on what base location you're raiding. I think great to have in multiples. I definitely would love to, in my wipes, I definitely love to get a couple of these and mutate some melee on them. Also is decent if you are raiding people who leave all their turrets on players only, which can be a challenging base to raid for newer players. Send in Arthro, whistle it to attack the base of the wall, and just have it all crumble down. Arthros are great. I love them. The space whale, the Astrodelphus and the Astrocetus. The big whale, I have never tamed. I don't actually know what they are for. I'm sure there's some usefulness for them that I don't know. Let's move all of these to the bottom. Some usefulness for them that I don't know, but I, again, have not tamed them. By the time a lot of these newer dinos came out, I was no longer competitive, as it were, and did not learn the meta for them and why they're so great. The small whale, however, I do know is great. I know it's really, really strong early, and it's kind of the main way to raid Ice Cube in Gen 2's water biome. I think having a couple can be useful. I think they are decent early game raid tames, but I do not know much outside of that, so I'm scared to put them up higher. Maybe one early game, just because I don't want to rate anything too high. Have a newer player come onto the video and be like, oh, AJ said this dino was great, and then I went and joined a wipe and I got flamed for taming this dino. So I'd rather underrate than overrate dinos. Baryonyx is phenomenal. Great to have in multiples. Again, very much bordering most important tames. Uh, Best cave runner in the game. Phenomenal for underwater base defense. If you're in, it really depends on where you're living. Because if you're living in a base spot without any water, they're obviously significantly weaker. If you're on an unofficial server that you don't need to run caves, they're obviously significantly weaker. But their stun ability is so strong. They have actually really good damage despite their low health pool. Baryonyx are up there. They're absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal tames. Some of my favorites to have in the game for sure. Basilisks are in that same boat of they're great base defense tames. Have them burrow. Reapers are better, but you can have them burrow and they will block structure placement. You can help block fobs, block rockets, block running, whatever you need to do. Reapers are better at it. The Basilisks, they offer the same role, and you can use them to spit people off the back like a poison wyvern. It does damage to the rider. And that's probably the main benefit of this, is riding a basilisk in base defense can completely change the tide. Basilosaurus is, I think, in most important tames, it is the premier underwater base soaker. Um, we'll get into the best soaker in the game, but it is the premier underwater base soaker. Their HP pools are so massive that even without their damage reduction, they can soak so much before they need to leave for a heal. They leave you pretty vulnerable on the back, which is definitely not the best in the world, depending on if you're doing an online-offline base raid. But they are phenomenal regardless, and I think deserve a spot in most important teams. The frog is, I would like to put it in most important teams for the purpose of cementing paste farming, but I think this is great cementing paste. The frog is great cementing paste. The Megatherium, which we'll get to later on, is also great cementing paste. They're all great ways to farm cementing paste easily. You take this or Megatherium into Swamp Cave, kill everything, and boom, there's your cementing paste. This gets it raw. The Megatherium will make chitin, and with the stone, you can craft that into your cementing paste. I think great to have in multiples. I suppose maybe the Achatina you need more of. Potentially the Beelzebufos, having a couple can be useful. You don't really need that many. Having one, even unmutated, just with decent melee, is probably going to be okay for your cementing paste. If you're a big tribe, you have the time to mutate them. If you're not a big tribe, you probably don't need that much cementing paste. The Bloodstalker is a great tame. Great to have in multiples. I think below the base defense tames, but great mobility tame, especially early game. They're so easy to go get right at wipe, within 5 minutes of wipe. Get yourself some packs and go get a Bloodstalker, even on official. Should not take you more than like half an hour to get blood packs. It is great travel tame, great early game PvP tame. All in all, just a phenomenal early game tame, and even late game is a decent traversal. Their HP pools make them a little bit weaker as the wipe goes on, but they're definitely not a bad tame to have, and I would never discount you for getting multiples of Bloodstalkers. Having a Bloodstalker is always better than not having a Bloodstalker. The Brontosaurus, unfortunately, is outclassed. It's it's not the best outside base soaker anymore. Or this is the Brachiosaurus from Archeditions. I think this actually has a really strong like attack that it can use, but again, I don't know what that is. I believe they have a stomp attack that can damage metal. Um, so we'll veto that and go to Brontosaurus, which of the same thing is it's a good berry farmer only because it hits so many bushes at once, and so it is really easy to throw it out, swing your tail twice, and there's your berry farm. But again, why would you waste your time getting a Brontosaurus when you can get something like a Therizino or a Stego or other generally important tames that will also get you more than enough berries than you need? The Brontosaurus is just outclassed by other berry farmer in the game, and also outclassed by outside base soakers. There are just better ways to soak an outside base. The Bulbdog is maybe top tier most important tames because it's so cute. Aberration is the best map in the game. Um, Obviously, haha funny because I love Aberration, it's my favorite map, but it is objectively the best map in the game for 95% of things. Everything except for basically oil and silica pearls. You can live on Aberration just fine as a solo and compete with a lot of bigger tribes on other maps. The farming capabilities of Aberration is so strong. Reapers are in the contention for the best creature in the game, in my opinion, and any light pet you need to have light pets. We'll throw Bulldog in most important teams because it's the first one and maybe the cutest one, up to personal preference. Any light pet is going to go in most important teams. The rest will go in outclassed. Carbonemus. This is the best soaker in the game, period, no matter what. I do not care what you say. The Stego is great. The Stego is the tried and true. Everybody knows about the Stegosaurus being the best soaker, or in theory, the best soaker in the game. Their damage reduction is great. Being unable to be picked is great. They are their HP pool is phenomenal. Stegos are great. Carbonemus breed so quickly and are so easy to breed with that the second you get a breeding pair of Carbonemus, I mean, like as you get your base spot set up, you see a Carbonemus, you should knock it out and tame it. Because the second you start breeding them, all you are doing is breeding hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Carbonemus. And all you do is you sit there and you throw it in, you let it die, you throw in another one, you let it die, you throw in another one, you let it die. Carbonemus is the easiest, the most efficient, and the best soaking method, in my opinion, in the game. My forever arc duo Taco is the biggest Carbonemus lover of all time. And I stand by him on that. Every raid that we have done with turtles has gone so much easier than any other soaker in the game, and I will stand by. Carbonemus are the best soaker in the game, and like depending on where you place soakers are important tames, that's how strong they are. If you think soakers are the best tames in the game, turtles are the best tame in the game. Carbonemus, top tier. Pick them up as soon as you can. This is I think the Ceratosaurus, but I don't actually know. No, because this is the Carnotaurus, so this is CA something, but I don't actually know what this is, so this is going in useless untamable as well. Carnotaurus is unfortunately outclassed. In Ascended, Carnotaurus goes in Great Tavern Multiples. It is a phenomenal base defense tame with their bleed that can stack with other bleeds as well. Great to kill soakers. You get a Carbonemus, or not a Carbonemus, sorry, a Carnotaurus and a Therizino. Not a Therizino, a Thylacoleo. Messing up all my names. You get a Carnotaurus and a Thylacoleo put together, and you will shred almost any soaker within a matter of seconds. In Evolved, unfortunately, I think they go in outclassed. They don't have that bleed effect, and their stats are just nowhere near as strong as any other dino in their weight class. The Carbonemus is also outclassed. They are amazing for beaver dams for early game cementing paste. Early game cementing paste is absolutely amazing to have. Love the Carbonemus. However, I do think that the Therizino is a better wood gatherer, and that's the main reason they're used for. They're great to have in the game to go get their dams. However, if as an actual tame, they are outclassed by the Therizino. The Chalicotherum, I have never tamed for anything ever. I know you need beer to tame them, and that's kind of annoying, but I literally do not know what you would use them for that anything else would use. Like, I don't know why you would tame this ever. Again, if someone has used these, please let me know. I, again, would be happy to be proven wrong if you guys know good things about these lower class tames, or if you think my higher class tames are awful and bad, let me know. Happy to have a discussion on that. But yeah, I don't know what you attain these for, what their use is for in a PvP setting. And the Synod area and the Coelacanth are also both untamable. Cannot tame them, can't use them. Really easy. Now the Compy is also useless. You need prime meat to tame it, so you can't even tame it early game that easily. And it is just a pretty useless tame. They don't do a lot of damage. They don't have a great health pool. They're not easy to tame to have in multiples. There's no reason to tame a Compy whatsoever at all. I genuinely do not know what dino this is, and maybe I don't know ball. That might be what this tier list is teaching us, is that I don't know ball like I thought I knew ball. But I don't know what that is. I don't know what dino that is. Uh, I actually don't know what this is either. I don't know what either of these dinos are. If you know, please let me know. The Blood Crystal Wyvern, great to have in multiples. It is my favorite travel mount, I think, to pick up early. The drain effect is great. Phenomenal early game PvP mount. A lot of servers will ban the Crystal Wyverns on day 1 of wipe, force you to use something else because everybody's going to rush Crystal Isles and go and get those. Bloods are phenomenal, and Crystal Wyverns, the Tropical Crystal Wyverns, I think are in the same boat, and I think, honestly, as much as I don't like them as much, are probably objectively better, because their water buff makes them faster, and so for an early game travel mount, having the fastest travel mount in the game that's not a Meguana is great, and I think that is worth them being above Bloods, but I will always go for a Blood if possible, because I prefer the PvP than just the travel for the grinding. The Embers, maybe one early game. I know they're okay, but I think they're just kind of outclassed by the Bloods, but if you can't find a Blood, pick up an Ember. They all do the same thing. They're all Wyverns. Daedon is also in most important tames. It and the Snow Owl fight with each other for the best healer. The Daedon is a lot better if you have 2 or more people raiding, because you can drop it out of render and it will instantly fill its food bar. The Snow Owl is a little bit slower healing, but it's easier as a solo player to use and make progress with. So Snow Owl and Daedon are interchangeable depending on, one is outclassed, one is the most important, depending on how big your tribe size is, how big your raid party is. Deathworms are untamable. This is the... I also don't know what this is referring to. Also going to go and unclass untamable. Same thing with the Dinotherium, I believe this is called, and whatever this is, because I don't know what it is. This is the Dinosuchus. This is great to have in multiples. This is my... I know this is an additions for Evolved, but for Ascended base game, this is my choice for boss fight dino. Their damage is phenomenal, and even without their charge attack, they have higher damage than a Rex, very similar HP pools, and they are just a lot easier to get saddles for, in my opinion. They're great to have as trades, because not a lot of people go for them. A lot of people go for Rexes, and so it's a nice bargaining chip to get your a little bit more value out of a trade than you would with a different boss fight dino. I absolutely love the Dinosuchus. I think that they, in my opinion, are the second best boss fight dino, which is why they are in great to have in multiples. The best boss fight dino will go in most important tames. The Desmodus also is great to have in multiples. Early game, this is by far the best PvP mount in the game. Even later game, they're still insanely strong. But early game, if your opponent doesn't have a whip, they're dead. They are the fastest flyer to fly directly up to drop them. They have the bleed and the drain effect while you're holding them, so they have a great DPS output. And their HP pool, while not great, is not terrible for being a flyer. They are unbelievably easy to tame. There is nothing bad about the Desmodus, and if you are ever wanting to PvP and your opponent has a Desmodus, or you don't have a Desmodus, or if one of you has a Desmodus, that side is going to win. The Dilophosaur is in the same boat of it's useless. There's really no reason to tame it. There's really no use for the small uh, carnivore archetype. I don't think there's ever a reason to truly want to use it, and I think it belongs in useless untamable. Dimetrodons are the same. I think they have some temperature regulating effects, so they work as like ACs, but I think it is like exponentially easier to just make a couple ACs than deal with this. The or I suppose that's the dimorph. No, this is the dimorphodon. I get them switched up. Both useless. This like again maybe for some jank based defense in like a newer player populated server, sure, but I don't see a world where this is ever useful. The big monkeys, again, I haven't played. I know they are decent because of their poop throwing. Like I know these are actually decent tames, but I haven't used them enough to be able to give a distinct reasoning on them. Diplocaulus is, I think, maybe one early game. It's a really nice oxygen tank before you can get scuba if you are in desperate need of oxygen before level 90. Even on official, it shouldn't be too hard to get level 90, and you should probably get level 100 before you're doing much underwater because you need those higher levels for the deep sea loot crates anyway. But I will say maybe one early game is okay before you get scuba gear. Diplodocus is also in the useless tier. No reason to use a Diplo ever. I mean, they have the 10% seat, but for a PvP wipe, I would never tame a Diplodocus ever. Dire Bears are great. Um, I think that they are either in most important tames or having a couple can be useful depending on which game you're on. If you are on Ascended, most important tames, because they are by far the best way to get Polymer. You take one of these to the pink zone on Aberration, and you will rack up more Polymer than you have ever seen in your life. However, if you are on Crystal Isles, they are outclassed or having a couple can be useful, either or, because you can always chainsaw the bee cave on Crystal Isles for more Polymer than your tribe will ever need in that wipe, because Crystal Isles is an unbalanced map. I think it's somewhere in these three categories, depending on what version you're playing on and what you have access to, but I think putting it in the middle is fair. Direwolves are just outclassed. They are a cool, you know, like cool boss fight dino idea, but their health pools are just so low that they don't work for being a medium-sized carnivore. Their damage is great, but nowhere near enough to make up for how squishy they are. The dodo, great to have in multiples for egg production in Ark Mobile, I think, but outside of that, there's no reason to tame dodos outside of to throw them at people's bases. Uh, C4 dodos are funny, but C4 turtles are better. And so I think Ark Mobile, there's a use for them for kibble, but I don't believe they have any real use in the Steam version of the game. Doedicurus is in that same boat of outclassed. In Ascended, I think Dodics are still very useful, just for generic stone gathering purposes. But the progression of Ark, you should be skipping the Doedicurus to get to metal tier. You should never be building stone structures that you can't just hit with a metal hatchet for a starter base. And so they're kind of outclassed game progression wise. And while they're decent stone gatherers for things like cementing paste with chitin, there are better stone gatherers in the game in Evolved. In Ascended, I think they are having a couple can be useful tier. You want to get some Mutanum, decent but not important. A tame Dodic will do just fine. The whatever this is, I want to say this is the Dreadmare from Ascended, but I can't. No, that's another a raptor of some kind that I don't know. I wish I did, but I truly do not know what that is whatsoever. Um, so have no way to comment on it. And I'm realizing that I'm very stupid, and that this is the one of the Titans on Extinction. I actually don't know which one, but I know that it is one of them. It is probably, yeah, I actually don't know which Titan this is, but Forest Titan, Ice Titan, um, Desert Titan is what that is actually. They're all in the same boat, I think, of there's really nowhere to put them, right? Like having a couple can be useful. You can use them to raid outside bases decently. Um, Outside of that, I really don't know what you would use them for. With being a limited tame and all. And I think that the Titanosaur, wherever he is hiding, also belongs in that same tier of great for outside base defense, but there's better options. There are better permanent options for that. Dung beetles are phenomenal. Um, Great to have in multiples. Not quite most important tames, but especially for a map like Aberration, where you want to have uh, fertilizer for your plant Z is great, and any other map, just having fertilizer for plant X or just for growing crops is great, great, great to have. Great to have in multiples, and I think that's the best place to leave it. The Dunkleosteus is a maybe one early game dino. Back when Ascended just had Center, Island, and Scorched, it was the best way to farm metal. You go to the underwater on Center, and that's still a decent way to farm, but again, is far outclassed. But maybe one early game if you're living in a pearl cave of some kind, not having to not having to venture up to the land is definitely a positive thing to have. Um, Being able to farm near your bases is great if you just need early, quick resources. The Electrophorus are the most disappointing tame in the game. Absolutely the most disappointing tame in the game. I really do, really do love the idea of having shock eels as underwater base defense. Unfortunately, that's not allowed, which sucks, but I understand. I see why that's not the case, but most disappointing tame of my Arc experience at all. The Enforcer is pretty useless. You can craft them once you kill an Enforcer, but even with an Ascendant Enforcer, I think they're way too expensive to do anything good, and their stats are not that great either. I don't think I've ever crafted an Enforcer in a PvP wipe, and I don't think that will ever change. The Europtrid is in that untamable category of great for Black Pearls. Great to kill for Black Pearls with the Ammonite. That's what that's called. Um, yeah, fits that same boat of useless. The Equus is cool for unicorns. I don't know if unicorns count as the same creature, but if they do, maybe one of the game. Because having a unicorn is pretty sick. Outside of that, they're maybe decent to knock something out early game on a higher rate server. Also maybe decent, but I don't see them anywhere except for Fibercraft servers where their torpor is insane. Outside of that, I don't think having more than one Equus would be cool, but having a unicorn works just fine. I do not know what this is referring to. That picture is too small for my eyes to see. And so unless I remember or realize what that is later on, like with the Titan, that's going to go in the AJ does not know ball category, and we will add that. AJ does not know ball. I suppose then this will be our useless untamable. And we can move all the actually useless dinos up here, and all the dinos that are, because I don't know ball, can lie down where they don't belong. Again, I don't know what this is. I would think like Trudon, but that's... Oh, this is the Deinonychus. Honestly, same boat of maybe one early game. Well, actually, no. These are great to have in multiples because they are a really easy way to do the Alpha Crystal Isles boss fight. Totally blanked on that. AJ does not know ball. This is the most truthful category in this entire tier list. But Deinonychus are great. Really easy way to cheese the Alpha Crystal Isles boss fight. Really easy boss fight. Really easy tech grams. Really easy element. Really easy to get too. Just steal a couple from the nests and move on with whatever other grinding you're doing. It takes 30 seconds out of your day. Especially if you're on Valg, which was my favorite map before I was converted to being an Aberration believer. Great to have. Still don't know what this is, to be completely honest. Fenrir, I have not tamed or used. Same with the Ferox. AD does not know ball. I guess I'm not done with this category yet. But in fact, I do not know ball for these. I don't know what this is, and these I've not used in a playthrough. The Fjordhawk is the same way. It's decent to get your body back, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work in PvP of some kind. That or it's broken in PvP. I don't remember. I remember there being discourse on it. For PvE, it's great. For PvP, it's either completely useless or really good. I don't know. Fits nicely in the doesn't know ball category. Gotchas are great. Um, awesome. Being able to get gotchas, you can get element gotchas, black pearl, silica, electronic. Uh, not. I think you can get metal gotchas actually. Whatever resource you need, throw down some gotchas, generate whatever amount of it you need, and you will be set. Gotchas are phenomenal. Element gotchas are so powerful, especially in Ascended. It is probably the best way to get electronics if you're fortunate enough to find them in the extinction, um, ab zone or whatever it's officially called. The Gallimimus, it looks like, is useless, untamable. The fastest land mount in the game, but you should never use a land mount when you can fly instead. And so I think that they fit pretty cleanly in the useless, untamable category. Uh, Not much use for them outside of for funds and PvE. This is the gas bag. Great to have in multiples. They are the best heavy turret soaker in the game, but they get slammed all the way around by tech turrets so hard that I can't put them in most important tames. Maybe having a couple can be useful is even where they belong. They're a great soaker. Great soaker for heavy turrets, but since every decent player is going to have tech turrets basically day one, uh, they are not as useful as one might think. Giant B is okay. I don't hate Giant B. The beehive is what I'm assuming this is referring to, or what I'm going to choose to refer to it as. It's okay, but I don't really think you should ever really pick it up. Passive honey generation is decent, but that's only to tame things, and on any official server, this is a big waste of time. On any unofficial server, just make kibble. Um, the kibble is just better. It's the easiest thing to do. Now, the Giga is either in most important tames or in outclass, depending on your opinion. The Giga and the Karchar, which is definitely what one of these is referring to. Unless, oh no, because it's not an ascended list. For Evolved, Giga is the most important tames. It is the pocket dino. When you're out and about, roaming about, and someone decides to shoot you and wants to mess with you, you throw a Giga out of your pocket, and either they have a Giga or they're dead, and you get a free kit. Gigas are great. Love to have Gigas in the pocket. I remember one of my first Arc experiences, I was playing with a friend of mine that I'd met at the time, and I couldn't find the base. I was brand new. I mean, this was like my first like 10, 20 hours playing Arc. But I was on a PvP server, and I couldn't find my base, so I went to sleep in a meadow with like level 300 Giga sitting on my body, and I remember that was definitely it was a fun day. It was an unofficial server. I remember that. I remember I got made fun of a lot for falling asleep with a pocket Giga. But those are good times. Good old Valg White Cliffs zone. Great memory. Love the Giga. Always want to have one in the back pocket. Uh, the monkey is maybe one early game. Like, it's a decent berry tame. It's a decent travel tame. Maybe one early, but that's even then a bit of a stretch. I don't know if I would ever truly suggest someone tame a Gigantopithecus. I again don't know what these are. I don't. Oh, this is a glow bug, I think, from one of the maps that is untamable. And this is something, and I do not know what they are and why they are here, but we will leave it at that. The Griffin is very overrated, I think. A lot of people love the Griffin. I think it is not that good of a PvP mount. Um, if we are, if I am out and about in the wilderness and somebody pulls up a Griffin, I get excited. I get a little tingling in my pants. I'm like, wow, this is a free kit right here. I think the Griffin is the most overrated dino in the game. I think they are outclassed, maybe one early game, but they're not that fast. They're not that strong. The only reason they're good is because you can pick someone, hop off, and flamethrower them. But if you flame bob, I think you should be banned from playing Arc ever. And also, if you get whipped, that doesn't do anything. I think they are the most overrated dino in the game, and I will die on that hill. This thing uh, is broken in servers that allow it to like make blueprints out of crafted things. I don't know what that ability is, or if that even is in fact this one. I'm pretty sure it's this because it has a little saw blade at its mouth and it makes blueprints and it's really, really strong. But I do not know if that's allowed on every server. Hesperornis is great early game polymer. Obviously, don't tame them. I think taming anything except for an Ovis to like slaughter it for resources is silly. Just go kill it. Um, or this should be in the useless untamable. I apologize, but great to kill for polymer. Not great to tame and raise. This is the Hyenodon. I thought this was the Thyla. I am a Thyla lover, but this is unfortunately a Hyenodon, which is just useless. The meat pack is a cool idea, but there's no reason to ever tame this. It is, I suppose, outclassed is a better way to put it. There's just better creatures that fit its same vibe, like the direwolf. Ichthyornis is it is the worst tier. It's the worst dino in the game. We need a bird tier, and that's where this belongs. This is the worst, most frustrating dinosaur in the game. And yes, I know it is a skill issue. I understand that if I just don't beach bob, these aren't a problem. But wow, these drive me absolutely crazy, and I honestly wish they were removed from the game. The Pegomastax at least is easy to kill. And Ascended, you can at least hit these, but Evolved, the hit reg is so bad, you cannot kill these. Like, whatever they take is gone, and they eat it. It doesn't matter if it's metal, they eat it. It's gone. And wow, like I hate these things. They suck so bad. Awful. Worst tame in the game. Hope they're removed. The little dolphin is great Ichthyosaurus, I think. Maybe one early game. Decent to get down to Pearl Caves if you're trying to claim a Pearl Cave day 1 on Island. Outside of that, they're kind of outclassed, but maybe one early game I could see someone wanting to pick up. Iguanodons are in that same boat. Early game, they're an okay combat mount, okay travel mount. Iguanodons are just decent to have one of early game. Not the greatest thing in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely a somewhat reasonable tame. The Ferox, I think I talked about, but I don't know what. I don't think I said the name of it, but haven't used it. The Jerboa is having a couple can be useful. If you're unscorched, it can tell you the weather event, which is marginally useful, I suppose. It's not really that important, but information to have nonetheless. Jugbugs are useless, untamable. I'm pretty sure this is a dude. This is a guy. I do not know what dino this is supposed to be, but that's where that's going. The Sarco is just outclassed. Again, it's the medium carnivore category. The Thyla is the best medium carnivore, and you probably shouldn't tame anything else. So I think the Capro just belongs in outclassed. Carcanos, on the other hand, are one of the best base defense tames in the game, if not the best base defense tame in the game. Even though you only need a couple, Carcanos are so important. Just get a Carcanos, sit on the back of it, pick any soaker you want, and make your base defense a breeze. Pick up a Carcanos. I promise you will thank me in your base defenses in the future. The Kentro, useless, untamable. No reason to tame this. The damage reflection is okay, I guess, but in PvP it's just not up to par. The I don't know what this is. Something starting with K. I don't know what it is. The leech is... Oh, is this the... No, I don't know ball. It might start with L, but I don't know what it is. Oh, it's probably some, like, cave dino thing. Oh, the lamprey, I think is what they're called. I don't really know. Um, eels or leeches suck. Frustrating. Drive me crazy in cave running. Really easy to get rid of, right? Just stand on a campfire, but it's so annoying to have that on your screen until you're done with your run and you have to go stand on a campfire. Or, sit there for 5 seconds, taking them off your Megatherium in, like, Swamp Cave. Marginally inconveniencing, but really annoying. Lead Sickness is Untamable. Great prime fish early, but I don't really know why you would need prime fish early. I guess Baryonyx tame, but outside of that, uh, untamable. Liplorodon is... I actually have never used one. I know they have loot crate boosting effects, but I do not know what exactly that is. I've never tamed one. I know they're temporary, and I generally don't like temporary tames. I think I like to plan out my days and what my runs are going to look like, and not knowing whether I'm going to find the tame I need to go do a loot crate run, I think is never a positive. So I think having a couple can be useful, but I truly do not know. They probably belong in the don't know ball category, but I know they're useful to some extent. The Lymantria is just outclassed. There's no reason to use that over any other flyer ever. The Lystrosaurus, however, is super cute, but also useless. No reason to use it. The XP boost is kind of nice, I think, but there's no reason to use a Lystro as cute as they are. Megawanas are objectively the best tame in the game. I think travel mounts are the most important tame type, and they are so far above and beyond every other flyer in the game. I mean, Megawanas genuinely can be faster than creative mode speed. Um, I mean, they are insane travel mounts, and they are so good that even if you think soakers are more important than travel mounts, I think they're better than some soakers. They are that much better than every other travel mount in the game. Meguanas are so good. If you have not tamed a Meguana or you've been putting it off because it's annoying or because it seems inconvenient, get a Meguana. It should be like the first or second thing you tame every single wipe. They are the best tame in the game. Magmasaur is in that boat of it's just better than the Enki. It is the better metal farmer equivalent of the Yankee. Great metal farming, really easy to pick up in Evolved. I don't put them in most important just because they don't exist in Ascended, obviously, but very, very good to have in Evolved. Great metal farming. Love to take one of them to Aberration and just, smack on everything. Obviously, there's a better farming dino for every single thing in the game, but we will get to that. Now, the Mammoth is useless untamable. I know it has some kind of rally effect or debuff effect, but I've never used one or wanted to use one ever. Uh, Super cool tame. Mammoths, I think, are some of the coolest, like, real prehistoric animals, but unfortunately, they don't have a place in a PvP player's wipe. The Managarmr used to be really good. Great to have in multiples. Used to be the best travel mount in the game. Megawana is obviously way faster than them, but their combat prowess and pre-nerf Managarmrs might have been the best team in the game. I mean, you just sit outside a render and freeze somebody until they die is great. You can't do that anymore, fortunately. But manas are great. You still want to get them, still want to mutate them, but they're just not as important as they once were. They are no longer the king of Arc. The Manta is useless untamable. No reason to tame a Manta. The Ichthyosaurus is a faster and better and easier to get early game underwater mount. The Mantis, however, is a great to have in multiples. Great flint gatherer. Again, with the exception of one farming tame, which a lot of you might be able to guess, it is really, really, a lot of these farming dinos are really, really great, but they are not in most important tames because you can just farm with something else. But the Mantis is great. It can knock out tames on defense. It probably sits at the top of great tab and multiples. Knock out tames on defense. Great flint farmer, especially for ascended. Just all around great tame. The I don't remember what these guys are called, but I don't think these are tameable. Or no, they are tameable, but you have to do some like fish feeding thing to tame them. The Mega Chalons, that's what they are. And I don't think they're great soakers or useful for much of anything. And again, this is one I definitely could like. This is in maybe an AJ don't know ball category. Some of these definitely should go down, or could go down, I should say. Like if someone is like, yeah, the Aranio actually does this and it's really good and it's like the best boss fight I know in the game for the Valguero beta fight, absolutely. AJ does not know ball. But for now, useless, untamable, I think is a fair spot to put it. Megalanias, useless, untamable. I actually don't know if you can tame them. Same with the Megaloceros. I don't know if you can tame these. Again, maybe AJ doesn't know ball, but they're useless if you can tame them. I don't believe the Mega Rabies you can give to players with a tamed Megalania, so there's no point to tame them. The Megalodon is super cool, but unfortunately outclassed by every other water tame in the game, which is unfortunate. Uh, definitely sad, but very cool. This is the Megalosaurus. If you're on Aberration, this is great to have multiples, especially on Ascended. Megalosaurus on Aberration are awesome. Great fighting tames. Super frustrating to deal with in the wild, but the perma not needing to sleep is awesome. Their night buff being always active in Aberration is so cool. Makes them a great tame. Outside of Aberration, they're outclassed. But with the assumption that you should be living on Aberration or at least have grind bases on Aberration, Megalosaurus are great. Meganuras, bird category. The Meganuras and the wherever the ants are. Where are the ants? I don't remember what those are called, so I don't know where to look for them. But they belong in this category. They suck. Pegomastax too. Y'all belong right here. The Titanomyra. Wherever those are. The Titanomyra drones. I think it's you, right? Titanoboa? Yeah. They all belong in here. This category sucks. Megatheriums, great farming tame. Having a couple can be useful. Kind of the same as the dire bears. Like, pick them up. Great source of chitin, but definitely not necessary at all if you do not want them. They're also a really easy way. Even with tame Megatheriums, you can do Alpha Broodmother pretty easily. Obviously, you can cheese it on Evolved, but on Ascended, they're a pretty easy way to get a turret pretty early on. Mechs are broken. Mechs truly are broken. They're so great. Ascended has some decent designs to get them away, but before, I think it was the newest DLC that came out, um, there was really not a lot of way to deal with them, and mech abusers suck, and they are on the same level of Flame Bob if they're stinky and gross. So, really good, great to have, but if you use it, I will be disappointed. The little monkey, I think, can throw poop for some effect, but I don't really know how useful that is. This is the... I don't know what this is. AG doesn't know ball, again. Um, the Morellatops, maybe one early game. They're decent for water and scorched, but again, if you're playing PvP, that's never really a concern. I'd like to say useless, but maybe one early game. Up to user discretion. This is the Mosasaur, which is super good, great to have in multiples, awesome underwater tame. There's of course a better underwater there's a better underwater Giga, but this is still a great underwater Giga tame. Love to see it. Super cool. Yeah, I mean honestly just really awesome. Really awesome tame. The Moschops is super funny, but not good in any way. Um, they're just bigger bulldogs, not bulldogs, Lystros, and I like them, and they're fun early game tames to run around on. But in any serious wipe, you're never gonna pick one up. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is referring to. Um, this is a little mind goblin thing that takes control of your creatures, I'm pretty sure, which also goes in bird because it sucks. Um, the Noglin. Yeah, this is a Noglin. This is a... I don't know what this is. And, yeah, I don't know what this is. Noglins go in bird category. This is the... Oh, this is the Bat in Caves that starts with an O. Onyx. This is Onyx. They suck. They're useless. They're untamable. And they're frustrating caves to deal with. Otters are fine. Maybe one early game just because having a couple could be useful. Because you want... They can help you get extra artifacts from caves, which is decent, but not the end of the world if you don't have. The Oviraptor is useless. Again, in Arc Mobile, I think it helps. I mean, in normal game, it helps boost egg production, but I don't think you really need normal eggs outside of Arc Mobile. Um, Ovis is having a couple can be useful. If you have a couple that you can kill whenever you need mutton, it's a great, easy source of taming food without having to make kibble. So early game definitely can be useful, but is not the end of the world if you don't. Again, it's kind of these is like great to have, but not the end of the world if you decide not to. This is the... I don't know what this is. I'm trying to think what dinos. Oh, this is the little guy with the head. It's the Pachycephalosaurus, I think. Um, Useless, untamable, unfortunately. Really cute, super cool little guys, but just not useful. The whatever these are called, the para something. They are cool again, but are just outclassed by the trike. The trike is just a better version of them in every way. Racers though are great. I put them in most important teams because I think they belong as the best outside base soaker in the game. There is nothing that compares, except for maybe a Titano, to being able to just build a box around yourself and walk up to an outside base. And even if you're playing on a moderated server, which bans some of those cheesy strats, they are still just a really, really good soaker. Being able to build on the back is awesome for them. The Parasaur is great to have. Uh, it's at the top of having a couple can be useful. They're great because they can tell you if someone's near your base, but realistically, like I think that ability is overrated. I think people think it's better than it really is, but having a couple can be useful. Definitely is a, I think top of that. I think top of having a couple can be useful. Bottom of great to have in multiples is exactly where this belongs. Somewhere on this line. Now the whatever this is, the Pelagornis. Um, this goes in bird because the only time you would use this is to get into some cheesy like rat hole that shouldn't be allowed. And so for official, they're great. No holds barred. Most important tames. But for any unofficial server with any kind of moderation, there's no. They're basically untamable. They're banned on a lot of those servers. The Phiomia is unfortunately outclassed. It is the dung beetles is better. Like getting raw poop is decent, and it can make more. But again, having to wait for its food to fill up is frustrating, and the dung beetle is just easier and better than what the Phiomia does. The I don't. Oh, this is a phoenix. I've never tamed one. I think in Ascended they're getting a buff that they're somewhat useful in PvP, but in Evolved, I've never tamed one. They have no use in PvP, and they're impossible to get. The Piranha is untamable. The Plesiosaur is outclassed by the Mosa. It's just a worse Mosa. If you're ever going to tame a big underwater Giga creature, tame a Mosa. Don't tame a Plesi, tame a Mosa. The... I don't know what this is. Oh, the Procoptodon. Pretty good for cheesing boss fights. So I'll say having a couple can be useful. For evolved, pretty good for cheesing boss fights. It's pretty easy to get up on ledges that you otherwise couldn't to cheese bosses with shotguns. That is the meta for getting tech grams early. So especially for Broodmother, Procoptodons are great. And I believe early patches of Ascended had that as well before it was removed. The Pteranodon is having a couple can be useful. Being able to PT spin a death wall is fine. It is definitely not an ability to scoff at, but I think snowball bombing it is generally better any chance you can snowball bomb a wall. They're not the fastest flyers anymore, so having a couple can be useful, but they are near the bottom and close to maybe one early game, in my opinion. The spiders, or the scorpions, as super cool as they are, the Pullman Scorpius is a sick name, really cool design, one of my favorite design creatures, but they are unfortunately completely useless. Perlovias are great to have in multiples. Nice to sneak your stuff all across the map. Um, Bar ESP, which is obviously a somewhat popular thing, especially in Evolved, really cool to be able to hide stuff basically unseen anywhere in the map. The Quetzal is just outclassed. There's really no need to pick up any big dino like that. I know, well, no, I will say having a couple can be useful because, again, raiding outside bases, like raiding chandeliers, a Quetz is great for, but actually, no, I retract my previous statement. I think having a couple can be useful, great to have multiples, because it is the best way to deal with chandeliers, and I think that those can be really challenging to raid for a newer player, and a Quetz is just build a box, and it's a really nice way to deal with those. The Raptor and the Ravager fit the same category of early game medium carnivore that are just outclassed by a better early game medium carnivore. The Ravager is okay. Playing like official aberration, it's an okay way to get started. It's a decent PvP mount if you want to go and get some kits from people starting out. But so we'll put this in maybe one early game, but Raptor is purely outclassed. Reapers, I believe, are in contention for the best tame in the game. Absolutely phenomenal tame. The best fighting tame, in my opinion. The best tame to do like OSDs with before you can get a surplus of Karchars and or Gigas. I mean, their damage reduction is amazing. They win any fight against any flyer ever because you just ground them and kill the flyer before they can do anything. It is so hard to be killed off the back of a Reaper. If you are on a cliff, they can 1v1 Gigas. I mean, a level 1 Reaper can 1v1 a max mutated Giga if you're on the right situation. You can just keep knocking it off and it never gets to be utilized. Reapers are just all around. They're my favorite tame in the game. They're the coolest looking, the most interesting, unique taming method I think in the game, and so amazing for PvP. The Rex is, I think, great to have in multiples. It's a boss fight dino. I prefer the Dinosuchus, but it's personal preference really. They really fill the same exact slot. A lot of people use Rexes, so you might be able to trade for saddles a little easier. But again, personal preference on what boss fight dino you want to use. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is the Rhinognathia, whatever. Don't know ball. It feels like just a worse Quetzal. I don't really know why you would use it. I haven't seen anybody talk about using it. I know there's a lot of hype when it came out, but outside of that. So I guess we'll put this in useless. Rock Drake, I think are just outclassed. I mean, they're just use a Meguana if you're on Aberration. Like, they're not even the best Aberration glider, which I think is so sad. The Meguana is so strong, and it ruins so many really cool tames. And while obviously it's the best thing to use, it does make me sad that Rock Drakes are not cool and awesome gliders. And it's like, oh, if you're an Ab, you should use a Rock Drake. No, just use a Meguana. But as outclassed as they are, unfortunately, they are still super pretty tames. The rock elementals are, I think they are in the same category as gas bags. They are, wherever I put the gas bag at is where I'm going to put rock elemental. They're both great heavy turrets, but they die to tech turrets so easily. I think they're slightly worse because gas bags can get in different spaces easier, but they fill that same category. Roll rats, I have never tamed a roll rat. I don't know what taming a roll rat would be for. I don't know why you would do that, why you would subject yourself to that, and I apologize if you have ever tamed one of these disgusting creatures. Saber-tooths are outclassed, unfortunately. They're in the same boat as every other medium early game carnivore because Thylas are just better. Thylas are just better tames. The saber-tooth salmon is untamable, unfortunately. This is the scout, which is also useless. I don't know what this is. The Sarco, perhaps? Sarco is outclassed. The Deinosuchus is just better. Sarco's cool crocodile, but Deinosuchus is a cooler crocodile, so not much reason to use that either. Throw that in the outclassed tier. This is the... I don't know what this is. I really wish I... Oh, this is a Seeker. Seekers go in bird category. I hate Seekers. Seekers are at the bottom of bird category. I hate Seekers. They suck so much. Gen 1 Lunar trying to farm electronics. Ugh, drives me crazy. Aberration trying to do anything in the pink zone. Ugh, drives me crazy. I hate the Seekers so much. Might be my least favorite team in the game. Despise these things. Shadowmanes are so cool. They are, before I was a Reaper enjoyer, my favorite team in the game. They are such a good combat team. They do everything a Reaper does, just marginally worse. They have the same jump. They have a really good stun. They have a lot of damage, a lot of health. They're really hard to tame, but a really fun, cool taming method, and they're really cool. Like, Shadowmanes and Reapers are so similar, and I love them both, I think, equally. My Magic the Gathering playmat in real life is the Shadowmane Dossier. That is the custom playmat I own, and I absolutely adore it. It is my favorite Magic collection item that I own. Now, I don't know what half of these are. Yeah, I truly do not know what these are. This is... Oh, this is the Shinehorn, the Sonomicrops. The Shinehorn is outclassed by the Bulldog. They're the same thing. I don't know what this is, so we're putting this in Doesn't Know Ball. And the Sonomicrops is also most more teams. Pre-tech suit is the easiest way to build a death wall. And tech suits are expensive. If you don't want to tech bob around, get a Sonomicrop. Sonomicrops are awesome. Absolutely love to have them. They are my favorite, one of the best quality of life teams in the game. I think they fit just below the turtle for being a soaker. The Spino is as awesome as the Spino is. The Spino is the coolest real life dinosaur. Unfortunately, it is outclassed by the Rex and basically any other large carnivore, which is extremely unfortunate because, again, the Spino is such a cool dino, it being amphibious, or not amphibious, but semi-aquatic, and having the coolest spine out of, like, any dino ever is so cool. They're so intimidating. Love the Spino, love their mechanics. In PvE, they are my go-to boss fight dino, but for PvP, they don't make the cut, unfortunately. Stegos are so good. Most more tames, right below turtles. They are the best all-around soaker and probably are objectively a bit better than the Carbonemus, but I like Carbonemus and I'm going to put them above because it's my tier list and I can do what I want. However, I will not judge you for putting the Stego much higher on this list. Volanosaur is also, well, I suppose it's great to have in multiples. I like to have it at the top. It is a cool... Also, how do we get to Volanosaur? That doesn't seem right. We're missing a lot of T tames. Maybe that's not a Volanosaur. I don't know what that is, but it looks like a Volanosaur. I'm going to call it a Volanosaur. So, that might be a Troodon. You know what? That is assuredly a Troodon, I think. But to be honest with you, I don't see the Volanosaur dossier. So we're going to pretend that this is a Volanosaur. And I have no idea what this is. This is a... Oh, this is the This is the spiky Pachycephalosaurus. I don't know ball. That's where this goes. Hopefully Volanosaurs are somewhere here and I just can't see them. Oh, here's the Velos. I guess we'll do Velo now. Great to have in multiples. Love Volanosaurs. I think they are great base defense dinos. Yeah, unmanned, their turret damage is capped at 20, but they're a really easy way to cheese the Rag Lava Golem, which is great blueprints on Evolved. On Ascended, not so much, but really easy way to get some great blueprints early game. And just a cool dino as well. Being able to ride a dino like a turret is super cool. Uh, I think this is referring to like all tech dinos, unless I am going insane. Well, yeah, I don't actually. No, this is also an Arc Editions thing. I getting so mixed up on some of these that I don't know ball on a lot of these dinos to be completely honest. Tape jar is useless. I don't know why you would ever tame a tape jar. Um, yeah, I mean tape jars are useless, and honestly, we can rapid fire out some useless dinos. Tapajars, Terror Birds, Thorny Dragons. Okay, Terror Birds and Additions and Ascended. I will attest, Terror Birds and Ascended are okay. They are an okay runner, still useless. They're stupid and they make me angry. Titanoboas are useless. Trudons and whatever that is are also useless. Um, the vultures are useless. We'll get into the wyverns, but fish, useless, untamable. This is a UD, I think. So, with that being said, throwing all those useless ones out of here, we will start with, in order, what I feel like is most fun. Well, Trial by Charles, useless. Wyverns. Poison and Lightning are tied for the best in PvP. Lightning obviously has the highest DPS. Poisons, I think, are a little bit better because you can hit people off of their riders with the residual damage from the Poison Wyverns, which I think that utility is so much more important than the crazy damage that Lightnings admittedly can do. But they are both tied for being the best Wyvern. Unfortunately, Wyverns are not that good anymore, and so they're still not amazing, but they are the best Wyverns. Fire and Ice are tied for the worst Wyverns. There's no reason to use them when you could use a different Wyvern. Use something else, you will be happier, I promise. The Void Worm is I don't know ball. I know these are apparently really broken. Again, I've never tamed one. Never bothered to go ahead with it. Now, the Woolly Rhino, the Uteranus, and the Theory are all boss fight dinos. The Rhino is a great early game boss fight dino. It fits. It honestly probably should fit wherever I put the Dinosuchus at. It is great to do, I think, Rag early game, even Valguero early game. The DPS is phenomenal. Really fun PvP dino on like mesas on their PvP arena map. Super cool dino, fun dino. Having a couple can be useful. Decent boss fight tame. That's about it. Theories, however, I think are the best boss fight dino in the game. Um, they do so much damage. They have so much health. They are great base defense dinos. They are so resourceful. They gather so much. Theories are one of the best tames in the game, period, but I think the best boss fight dino. They don't take the extended damage from the dragon, because they're not carnivores. Veggie cakes are a great way to heal herbivores. Again, their damage is unmatched. They can harvest so many different resources with their different modes, and you can level them specifically for that and make them an even better harvesting dino than almost anything else in the game. Super high on Theories. Absolutely love Therizinos, and absolutely recommend that you use them for your boss fights when you get the chance. And if not, being able to peck someone off the back of a tame is always a great thing. Base defense is a super underrated part of this game, as being offline sucks. But if you don't know how to defend your base, even being online, it's going to be the same result. Trikes are worse soakers than Stegos. They're decent to have. There are certain situations where you want a trike. There are some choke points where a trike is better than a stego. Those are so few and far between that I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Maybe trikes are better for like Lava Cave on Island, which is a bad spot anyway. So decent. I'm sure there are more spots I'm not thinking of, but for the most part, just use a stego. The Tuso is the counterpart to them, or the better version of the Bosa. It is the underwater Giga. So much damage, so much health. I'm pretty sure a Tuso beats a Giga if they both sit there and stat tech each other. Being able to grab and move things around is so phenomenal. They're so easy to tame too, especially on a boosted server. Just get a turtle and black pearls, and boom, you have a Tuso. You have an underwater Giga. You have the highest stat creature in the game, and it's phenomenal. Tusos are great, and they're so cool too. I love the oceans of Arc. At some point, I kind of want to do a Subnautica playthrough on the channel. I think it would be a lot of fun, especially once Subnautica 2 releases. I love the ocean, and Tusos are definitely up there because of bias because of it, but they are also just a phenomenal, phenomenal tame. Thylacolios before Shadowmanes. My first favorite dino was Thylacolios. And then Shadowmanes came out, and I was like, wow, these are so much cooler. They're just better Thylas. And then I moved to Ab, and I learned the Gospel of the Reaper, and I'm like, wow, this is a better Shadowmane. However, before all of my knowledge was imparted onto me, I was the biggest Thylacolia enjoyer ever. I was a big Syntac guy, and he loves Thylas, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, Thylas are sick, dude. I love them. They hold a special place in my heart. They are the easiest way to get level 100 for a PvP. Unofficial for PvP, kill a Titan with them. They're great. They're great base defense dinos. Thylas are awesome. They're super useful in PvP. Maybe not as useful as where I put them, but they hold such a special place in my heart for honestly being part of the biggest reason I got into Arc, which has been a huge part of my life up until this day. And on a PvE tier list, they may be at the very top just for how much they mean to me. And they probably belong near the bottom of the most important tames. But they at least have a spot for giving the fastest way to heavy turrets, and also for being just generally sick. Utis are great boss fight dinos. Snow owls are not in here. I must have missed that somewhere. Yeah, I don't see the snow owl, but it's in here somewhere. Snow owls and Daedons, we spoke about that. The Uti, wherever I ended up throwing him, is a great boss fight dino. If you're running multiple people in a boss fight, you want to have Uti to courage buff. Makes your boss fight a lot easier, lets you get away with weaker saddles or weaker dinos. However, the reason I think Utis are so great are because they give you a 20% resistance during soaking, and it makes your life so much easier. Lets you, depending on how big the base you're trying to soak is, reduces how many times you have to stop and heal, and that is less time that you have to spend not sitting there with your thumb up your butt watching YouTube while you soak. And that's great, because when you're soaking for 8 hours while someone is offline, it's boring, and you're sitting there watching Goofy Hero play Arc, and that's all you do. And the more time you can spend watching Goofy Hero play Arc, and the less time you can spend actually playing Arc, I think as a general rule of thumb will make you a happier person. And so the UD belongs in here for less time having to heal your soakers. Now the final tame that I'm going to speak about, I'm going to speak about with much hatred in my heart, because it has completely ruined the balance of the game. There is no reason to use any other dino than the Strider. You go to Gen 2, you do the racing minigames, it takes you like 15 minutes, and boom, you get a level 5 mining Strider, and you have more, you on your own in a level 1 Strider probably outpace a 6-man tribe pre-Striders. So broken, absolutely insane the amount of resources you can gain. I remember my very first time playing with Taco, my forever duo. We went and we tamed a Strider for the first time. And we were playing on a server, and I believe the server was a 15x. And we went to the Aberration Blue Zone, and we right-clicked with the Mining Strider one time, and we were slot capped. And yes, it was a 15x server, but we clicked one time and we're slot capped. We had so much metal and fiber and just everything we would ever need. We were slot capped from one press of a button. And I think that that is so unbelievably insane, even for Arc power creep standards, that it belongs just below the Meguana at second best dino in the game, because it is the best harvesting dino in the game, and has made all of these other amazing dinos like the Theory and the Magmasaur and the Mantis completely useless. There's no reason to use them, because you should just use a Strider, and that is unfortunate, and that makes me sad. But I cannot discount the value that having a Strider in your tribe brings. And well, yeah, they can't be cryopoded. It's pretty easy to just place down a transmitter, slap them down, and gather whatever you need. I think that that will finish up the tier list. I'm pretty happy with these rankings. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you disagree. Tell me, AJ, you're stupid. The Arthur Pleura is actually really awful because the C4 does 4 more damage a second than the Arthur Pleura. Absolutely. I am more than welcome to hear it. Meguana is the best tame in the game. I will die on that hill, and I'll see you guys in the next video.